We have Everything Right Is Wrong Again, Put Your Hand Inside the Puppet Head. Number 3, which, although it's not like a kind of hit, it's a fun little ditty, right? Then Let's Start. And then we hit this run of songs.
Weird.
That are just weird and odd. And they just kind of start having kooky fun.
Right.
And so it's harder to sort of generalize about the They Might Be Giants style when we move through this.
The next few songs are going to be odd.
Kind of right up until the end at this pace.
Well, I mean, you've got She's an Angel, which is a pretty...
Oh, that's right. You do have She's an Angel.
Youth Culture Killed My Dog is kind of a rock song. There's still some poppy song, but this album, you can tell it's a first album. They're throwing a lot of stuff at the wall.
In our first episode, you mentioned there are a few They Might Be Giant songs I just don't listen to.
I never connected with the song.
When you first mentioned doing this podcast, I started reacquainting myself and listening to that first album. I was bopping to the first 4 songs, and then Hideaway Folk Family came on, and I didn't know what to think. The rest of the songs are this kind of nice self-reflection in a way, even number 3 to a certain extent. Hideaway Folk Family is a terrifying tale of Appalachian horror.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I think of it more abstractly than that as I've been listening to it recently. It's one of the few songs I don't know backwards and forwards because I haven't listened to it hundreds of times. Let's actually officially start the show before we get too deep into the weeds.
Let's start the show.
Welcome back to...
Inside the Birdhouse.
Take 2. Welcome back. It's time once again to go inside the Birdhouse with Lewis and Sean. I'm Sean.
I'm Lewis.
And today we're up to track 5, Hideaway Folk Family.
Hideaway Folk Family. Now, we haven't recorded for a few weeks because I've been traveling. So it's funny because we had this momentum going with the first 4 songs because they were just these They Might Be Giants joy songs. Not about joy, but fun to listen to, and they're fun to parse. The lyrics are so ambiguous that they reflect on so many elements of the human condition. And now...
Yes, I think I mentioned before on the cast that this is one of the songs that I have never connected to with They Might Be Giants. I don't know why. I found this new website that's got some information. I just wanted to go through some specs about the song before we really start.
Sure.
So it's on their first album. It is the longest track on the album at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. The name of the song is from a nesting doll set.
Hideaway
Folk Family. They officially said that. This is a Flansburgh song.
When he writes these songs that are quirky and fun, he borrows from this kind of Western sound, right?
Yes.
Number 3 has it.
Yes.
2 songs in me. It sounds like a mountain song.
Yeah. I think it's because he plays guitar, which I think kind of lends itself to be more kind of folky and country. And Linnell plays keyboard, which usually is a little more jazzy. Talking about the runtime, 3 minutes. Early on, their songs did not get a lot of radio play because they're so oddly timed. It's obviously kind of weird lyrically, but the music is pretty, just kind of mellow. It's kind of but it does exactly what Anna was talking about last week, where she said that they have this tendency to do these weird things in the middle of their songs. And of course, this one does it. Otherwise, you're just doing this hideaway, this nice sort of melodic song, and then all of a sudden in the middle of it.
Hello, this is Leslie Brown with the Daily Hung on the Strawberry Report. Tired, contemplate domestic turmoil, Aquarius, abandon hope for the plans. It is this kind of human horror story, right? Like Straw Dogs. Or
Yeah.
It's the sort of zombie menace coming in, even though it's not zombies. It's
whatever.
And we don't know who the folk family is. We don't know whether it's a racial thing that's happening. We don't know whether it's they pissed off the wrong family on the other side of the mountain. Of course, we do get this sense that it's out in the sticks.
I was looking through the fan interpretations, a lot of lynching, a lot of Holocaust. They're thinking it's sort of people that are being rounded up out of their houses. I tend to think of it a little more abstractly. We're in the 80s, right? What did the culture wars start to do in the 80s? They really started to pump the fear of the other, right? That was the Reagan thing, right? You had to be weary of what you didn't know. And I think that really hit home in places like you're talking about, like Appalachia, isolated areas that are pretty homogenous, religious beliefs. And I think it's just more abstractly about fear of the unknown.
I like that interpretation more than it being overtly racial, just generally fear of the other. And in the song, you identify with the other because we're in with the family. We're not seeing what the mob is doing outside. And so in this warning, like who's saying hideaway folk family? And then who's saying tippy-toe to the front door, mother? The hideaway folk family, that's somebody warning them that they better leave. And then we get inside. So it's almost like it's a movie. You know, we get the premise and then we get kind of the actions that take place. And the folk family doesn't seem like they make it out. It seems that they really do get consumed in the fear of the other.
Right.
So it starts with a chorus, very classic They Might Be Giants to start with their chorus.
Although this has more of an intro. They don't start.
It does have more of a musical intro.
Yeah, there is a musical intro. This doesn't start right with the lyrics.
Probably, again, because the musical style is sort of not intrinsically theirs. And I feel that is usually when they start with an intro. When they're borrowing from a kind of style that already exists, they tend to kind of mimic that style, and usually most songs have an intro. So Pet Name has kind of more of a kind of a groovy jazz style, which again is not intrinsically They Might Be Giants, and it has kind of this
that little funk groove.
Right? The intro helps us get into the mood of the song, which is important for this particular song because they are telling this kind of like horror story, like great horror. The musical style counters.
Right. It's more of a whimsy, sad sort of melody. The music actually is more akin to the feeling you would have after the horrible thing that happened, not while it's occurring.
Since we know the folk family probably doesn't get out.
Right. You're right. Exactly.
So hideaway folk family, or someone's gonna get you. Someone's gonna get you. Someone's gonna get you. Hideaway folk family. Better hide away. I mean, it's so ominous. And again, when I saw the video on YouTube of them doing this song, like back in the 80s, the audience started laughing. And I would have too. Oh yeah, this is so weird.
Yeah. What is going on?
But then it come in with this first verse, tippy-toe to the front door, mother. First of all, that syncopation of that line.
Oh yeah. The way he sings it.
Because there's a guy with a long fuse.
Is he talking about a bomb? Or is he talking about they've been bubbling, like this has been coming? He's got a long fuse, like he doesn't jump to anger. It takes a while to build to anger. Either way, it's definitely ominous in its tone.
And the one thing you can't hide is all the fear you feel inside as the fuse is spelling out these words. So now we know that what was being spoken, hideaway folk family, is probably being spoken by this guy with a long fuse.
There's something coming. The person that's at the door is not the bad yet.
Or represents the bad. They've sent there to go, tell them to get out.
Yeah. So he's the one who's now telling them again. And we go back to the chorus.
Or else someone's going to get you. And now when we hear this, it's even more ominous.
Yep.
Because when we heard it in the chorus, we're hearing it out of context. But now we're hearing it in context. Someone's going to get you, hideaway folk family, better hide away, better hide away. There's something about that line, better hide away, that just sounds so threatening, but spoken so softly.
Just so nicely, yes, it is.
When I first heard the song, again, I wasn't taking it all in. I didn't know how sinister it was. Beyond sinister, this is almost sadistic.
The amount of times that they repeat the chorus, especially at the end, they repeat it like 3 times. They just keep going over and over, and it's just, the words are so haunting, but spoken in such a tender, kind of softly spoken way.
Yeah, and so we go back to inside the house, tippy-toe to the flatbed, father. Because I'm assuming they mean a truck. Because they're pouring out our gasoline.
Yeah, we got to get to the car or else we won't be able to drive away, because the people that are coming are smart. They're not going to be easily taken care of.
And sadly, the cross-eyed bear's been put to sleep behind the stairs, sadly. And his shoes are laced with irony.
Now, the cross-eyed bear
I always thought he was saying the cross I bear.
That's actually part of the joke. It's a like little kid's joke. The prayer in the I don't know what verse it is where they talk about Jesus and the cross I bear, that he becomes the cross-eyed bear. That little kids think that's what they're talking about. But I think that they're using that because he said he has been put to sleep behind the stairs, right? So Jesus or whatever the religion of this family that they have always gone to in times of trouble, that's not going to help you this time.
The sleep behind the stairs and his shoes are laced with iron. That the thing that they would normally go to for comfort is, and now Jesus, who everybody in this community worships, right? It's because it's a religious community, but these guys are coming for him, which is very not Jesus.
Right. I think you're talking about a family that has felt like they were part of the community because everyone shared a religious belief. That's not an issue anymore. And isn't it ironic that this thing that you thought was going to save you is...
Yeah, but to sleep behind the stairs. In this breakdown of the lyrics, it has sadly in parentheses, but I've never heard that word. Hold on a second, let me just... Sadly the cross-eyed bears and put to sleep behind the stairs. Oh, it's sad.
Is it Linnell singing in the background?
Linnell does it in the background. Okay, yeah. I see. I never really noticed that. Yeah, but put to sleep sadly. His shoes are laced with irony. God, these are brilliant lyrics, man. Like, who comes up with this stuff?
They're so brilliant. And I'm not a fan of this song. I never have been. I might start listening to it just to give it more of a chance. Because, when I first listened, it was just one of those things where I wasn't in the headspace to like what that song was doing. Still can't say it's one of my favorites, but I think I'll probably start listening to it again. At the time that I had heard this song, my only real knowledge, I knew Flood. That album is pretty much top to bottom as radio friendly as they get. And then I'd also heard Lincoln, which is the second album. And that has some weird songs. It has the song on there I don't ever listen to. And we'll get to it when we get to that. And then I heard this, all the songs that I'd always kind of gravitated towards were the big poppy fun, and I never, obviously you start to dissect the lyrics of their songs, no matter how happy and poppy the music is. Most of the time the songs are dire and sad.
They don't have a lot of joy for joy's sake.
Very rarely. It happens, like New York City.
But there's something about that song that is so happy, you feel like the other shoe is going to drop.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. On that same album, a song called Metal Detector, which is all about the joy of being on the beach and using a metal detector to find treasure. That's all that song's about, and it is pure joy of that moment. But most of their songs are, you're singing that, and it's up here, and we're talking about dying.
So with that, after And His Shoes Are Laced with Irony, we go into the chorus again, very haunting. Hideaway folk family, or someone's gonna get you, someone's gonna get you, someone's gonna get you. Hideaway folk family, better hide away. And then we get into that breakdown.
I always thought this song was about homeless people. The way he says home astrology report, it almost sounds like he's saying homeless astrology report.
Oh yeah.
When you're talking about better hideaway folk family, like, again, it could be a homeless family that's sort of being terrorized on the street.
Yeah, what's interesting is that they use the religious imagery of the cross-eyed bear, and as we talked about, that could allude to the fact that this community thought they were bound by a similar regional, and then we go into something that's antithetical.
Right, the astrological.
A lot of people actually mix them up in their own convictions, but it is antithetical.
100%.
So hello, this is Leslie Down with the Daily Home Astrology. Taurus contemplate domestic turmoil. It sort of insinuate that the turmoil is happening inside the house, that they are fighting amongst themselves. Aquarius, abandon hope for future plans.
I mean, it could just be a meter thing that they chose, Taurus and Aquarius. I don't know if there's anything to why it would be a bull they're talking about or a water bear. I couldn't figure out any kind of connection between what they're talking about.
But you and I don't actually have a strong astrology background. I'm sure if we had a third guest here,
they'd have a better understanding, yeah.
Or they would make it up. They would feel like they knew.
Right, because that's what astrology people do. They always seem like they know.
Everything is connected to the stars in some way. There are other songs in which they invite another vocalist to do
things like that.
I don't want the world, I just want your half. We'll call a friend of theirs to give them a phone message, and then they use that to do it. Or in the guitar, Lion Sleeps the Night section.
Yeah.
But this is not.
No.
They sing it themselves. So this is the third perspective we're given, right? The first perspective is from maybe the leader
the
mob that's coming to get them. Then we have inside the house or the family talking. Be several people talking, but it's all that perspective. And now we get this outside perspective entirely.
There's something they're listening to on the radio. Are they reading it in the paper? About, it sounds like a radio thing, right? Like this is.
Yeah, it does sound like a radio. But then we have this violent guitars that are 180 degrees away from the style of the song itself, and just interrupting. And I can imagine them hearing this on the radio as they're scrambling
to get out.
These warnings of things aren't going to turn out well.
Seriously, right after they hear this is when the bad stuff finally gets to them. This is like the last thing they hear on the TV or the radio or whatever as they're fleeing, or before the hammer comes down, so to speak. I think if you just had this song and you didn't have that part and you didn't have the way it ends, you could easily see this song being on the radio.
But the style of the music is still very not popular.
Sure, but you're talking about alternative radio, whether it would have gotten on a Pop Kiss, but I mean like where it was in heavy rotation, not just like randomly they would play it, but you've got this weird bridge, and then we go back into the chorus.
A bit of kind of a breakdown of the chorus too. They do the chorus once, and then it's cascading.
Where they have the call and answer, where John Linnell's going hide away, and he comes and hide away for family.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't end with better hideaway. It just ends with hideaway.
Yeah, but hide away. And then in the lyric sheet I have, it says fake backwards singing.
At the very end, you'll hear a bunch of it's a backtracking, backmasking.
Oh my God, I had never noticed that before.
And apparently, it's just them going blah 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 blah. Like they're not saying anything.
Right.
It's just gibberish that they're saying, but then they backmask it, or however you call it.
To me, it just signals like the folk family is killed. The drowning of life and meaning, and
the screams of the dying.
It's even more brutal than I imagined.
They Might Be Giants. They're gonna do whatever they want to do. Some weird interlude in the middle of their song. A spoken word, weird backmasking at the end of the song. To them, they needed it to do that, even if they just thought it was funny.
Well, why not? I mean, we did things.
Exactly.
We didn't do them nearly as skillfully as I feel like the Giants was doing them, but we definitely did.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the way we ended our first album, making you think that something went wrong.
I mean, just the Revolution interlude.
Sure, of course.
Stupid.
Yeah. But that, again, that's kind of a classic. They have all sorts of short little songs in the middle of their albums all the time.
Yeah.
We'll get to one in a couple of weeks.
In the editing of this, I am going to put little clips of Jacaranda doing all this.
When you say in my parents' garage, we backmask you saying, "Come on, Tony, play it," or something before the guitar solo. No reason, just doing it.
No reason, it's there. So that is the song, and I probably would have put this on a top 12 They Might Be Giants playlist.
Sure.
But I would point at it as an example of a band that is bold, that has the musical acumen to be able to tackle something like this, and the literary acumen to be able to shape lyrics like this.
Sure.
It's not like a They Might Be Giants dud.
I never thought it was a bad song. It wasn't something that connected to it very well.
Yeah, I mean, it puts you in a mood.
Yeah.
That mood is bad mood. When you talked about with, Reagan in the 80s and the fear of the other, and I'm seeing everything happening right now, and I'm like, oh my God, it just like this song feels like it resonates.
A lot of people's interpretation have to do with Nazi Germany kind of, being pulled out of your home. And if that ain't happening right now in this goddamn country, it's crazy. In downtown LA, it's happening right now,
Easily see this, like, hideaway immigrant family.
Yes, exactly.
Someone's going to get you.
Right. When he wrote this song, it probably was more of a esoteric kind of,
Right.
Yeah, but now
little did they know it was just
just the beginning. Oh, well, it's a good thing we're not a political podcast.
All podcasts
these days have to be at some point. Yeah.
If you have some sort of podcast that talks about learning at all, learning is being threatened. And
Sure.
from music podcasts, music education is being threatened.
On the They Might Be Giants wiki page, they have interpretations by fans, or fan interpretations. I'm going to call this second interpretations. The name of the interpretation is Amish Family by Midnight Crisis. I think it's about an Amish family that gets raped/murdered. End of interpretation.
Why Amish? Is it the other Amish people, or is it an Amish family that is sort of like lives in another area that they've left the Amish community? Maybe it's the idea is a tiptoe to the front door mother, that they call each other mother.
Maybe that's what they're going for.
Tiptoe to the flatbed father,
Right. But I think that's more of a rural thing in general. I don't think that's specifically Amish. I love that he says raped/murdered. Well, I don't know that the song really indicates any kind of sexual violence, but I guess sure.
I kind of feel like there would have been a word or something
right.
Clued us in on the actual
specifically,
rape.
But that would be
all it has to be is murder.
Right.
Maybe all violence sort of intrinsically
no, true. The most of them are about what we were talking about. It's hostage situations. It's the Holocaust. We got some people thinking that it's from the standpoint of doomsday preppers.
I can see that.
Something is happening that's forcing them to go into their bunker, and either others are coming to try to take that away from them, maybe to save themselves.
But it's kind of like that Twilight Zone episode about the guy who built that bunker, and then the apocalypse happens and all his neighbors want to get in, but he doesn't want to let them in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I like that interpretation, actually. But it takes it away from being about fear of the other, that desperation for survival, that society gives you a false sense of security. And when society breaks down, you find yourself unprepared to do that. And this folk family might have done that preparation.
Right.
Might be worried about it and done the preparation. And now the rest of society that's now suffering that collapse is now
coming to them because
descending upon this folk family. So they're saying you better hide away, meaning go down into your bunker.
Get there now. So it's interesting. Most of the interpretations I read kind of align with what we've talked about. Some kind of attack, murder of some kind on a family.
The 4 songs that precede this on the album are kind of about personal self-reflection. Put Your Hand Inside the Puppet Head, even though it is reflecting on kind of a larger societal issue, it's still very much about this person and the choices this person is making and the feelings this individual is having, right? And this is the first song where we get out of that.
Right.
We now enter kind of many voices.
As you had said, I think last week you said that you thought that Linnell had a tendency to be more fighting the internal demons and that Flansburgh had more of an outwardly angst or anger.
Flansburgh believes the world is messed up and Linnell believes he is messed up.
But this is the first time that it's the Flansburgh ethos, but from a character in the song. It's less of a first-person point of view. Because you said it's got the multiple viewpoints within the song.
Between last episode and this one, I watched the documentary, the 2000 documentary.
Gigantic? The Tale of Two Johns?
Yes, I think, that's what it is. Is that the one where they have all the celebrities?
Yes, reading the lyrics? Yeah.
Of course, I really liked the documentary.
Yeah, it's a good documentary.
It was interesting seeing their relationship with late night TV. But what I also took away from that, you had mentioned this before, but I really kind of saw it in action there, that Flansburgh really was the guy that was driving the business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you can undervalue his contribution as a creative.
From the creative standpoint.
Any big hit they had,
almost always Linnell,
really come from Linnell, right? But it's songs like this and songs like Number 3, a very strong creative voice.
Pet Name is a Flansburgh song. I used to be that the Linnell songs were the best songs and the Flansburgh songs were okay, but I have totally come around on them. Not that I don't still think Linnell has great songs, but I find a lot of Flansburgh songs so much more interesting, both musically and lyrically.
It was interesting kind of seeing in the documentary how Flansburgh believes that Linnell is genius and Linnell
thinks
is like Flansburgh is
of course.
And again, part of Linnell saying that though is because Flansburgh, not only does he engage in the creative process like this, and not only does he make my songwriting better, right, like Linnell's, because he also introduces Linnell to music that Linnell probably wouldn't have done, because Flansburgh is out there watching things and taking things in and kind of bringing a lot of different influences to the. But I think Linnell celebrates the fact that Flansburgh can be both creative and have
and the business acumen.
Business acumen to be able to really kind of push them into this world. And, you know, I can imagine Linnell would have written 3,000 songs in his basement.
And they'd all be on his, he'd be the only person that's ever heard him. There's a reason why they've been able to stay together for 40 odd years. Trust in each other and respect for each other just has to be immense. Their flaws are well covered by the other one's pros.
Or their flaws are turned into strengths. Things that you could probably point at as flaws in an individual become strengths in a duo like this. Flansburgh is a little bit more overtly political and like untethered. Maybe he would be a little bit more mechly attacking the
specifically instead of it being more of an abstract thing. Yeah. Linnell points Flansburgh more inward, and Flansburgh points Linnell more outward. Like they you know,
it might be that easy. The other thing about that documentary that I really liked was just seeing amazing creative minds turn to they might be giants. That it's okay to break the box, or to, you know, think outside the box and really kind of exist in a world that you're not celebrated by institutionalized pop pantheon community.
Right.
But you can still have a tremendous impact on people.
I listened to a podcast called Screen Drafts, and he mentioned Gigantic, A Tale of Two Johns, and he said it's an undervalued documentary about an undervalued band. This is a band who has, I think, influenced tons of music that has come out. Music that's probably a lot more popular than they are.
Again, another really fun.
Yeah, this is fun. Next week we'll be doing 32 Footsteps. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, 32 Footsteps.
Oh, wait till you hear the interpretations about that song. Just
cursorily, without revisiting the lyrics and without really listening to the song the 10 times I normally do before we do these things. I wanted to think about it as OCD.
Right.
But I think it's more. It's got to be more.
Oh, there's more to it. That's a weird song. But until that time, we'll see you next week. My name is Sean.
My name is Louis.
Good night.